you everybody for being here. Everyone listening in online, thank you for listening in. So I felt like this morning, I was definitely having to be reminded of trusting in the Lord. But I'm gonna show you something, and I think it's related, like 100% related. We all know a certain verse that Jesus speaks, and I think we're going to take that and just one more level into it and realize, okay, this is what we're really saying is trust is the most important part. So, with that said, let's go to the Lord in prayer and we'll get into it. Heavenly Father, we thank you for showing us each and every day how much we can rely on you, that we need to rely more on you, not ourselves. And just know that you have the path set before us, and all we need to do is walk in the way that you would have us walk, go in the way that you would have us go. And we thank you for leading us, guiding us, and keeping this in the front of our minds at all time. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so we're going to start Matthew 22, verse 34. But when the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together. Then one of them, a lawyer, asked him a question, testing him and saying, "Teacher, what is the great commandment in the law?" Jesus said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. And these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets." So, Jesus saying, what's the most important thing? Simply love. But let's go that one step further to understand exactly what he's meaning. And as you can guess, we'll pull this up. Proverbs 3, verse 5. "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. It will be health to your flesh and strength to your bones." So, similar phrasing, but now just a little different. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Love the Lord your God with all your heart requires you to trust him with all your heart. That is the basis of every single relationship. We've all kind of been taught this. Modern day, trust in a relationship is like one of the most important things. As soon as there's no trust, there is no relationship anymore. Or at least not a positive one, right? So, for us to love him with all our heart requires more so than anything for us to trust him. Now, this is interesting because it's contrasted with lean not on your own understanding. What is going to be in direct conflict with trusting God? Your own heart. If you can subdue your own heart, tell it, shut up and listen. Stop talking and listen. If you can tell your ears to quit paying attention to yourself and start paying attention to what he's saying, you'll calm down. Here's what I visualize this as. You ever try to reason with a 5-year-old? It's very difficult when they get worked up emotionally. And they can't stop. Why? They're so focused on the way they feel instead of what is real. And this is key when we start trusting with what God is telling us. Who binds all reality together? God. Who makes everything go the way he has planned it to go? God. He knows the end from the beginning, and yet we feel something in the now, and we throw away what he's saying is true. That is the key to letting go, is stop feeling, start listening. This is extremely difficult in emotional situations, times of trouble, even times of happiness. You get caught up in the emotion and you quit listening. That's a problem. Sometimes it requires us to almost detach momentarily from our emotions, step back and look at the situation as if it's not happening to you, but to somebody else. And when you do that, right, they call it disassociation. Please remember, reattach. Please remember, reattach, but you're going to have to step back and look at it as a whole, logically, what is going on, so that you may trust in what God is saying. Sometimes the things that he tells us do not make sense to us. Do you trust him? Do you know how to set you aside and trust him? I do some of these exercises in my head sometimes. Has he ever lied to me? No. Has he ever steered me in the wrong direction? No. Everything that he's ever told me, did it even remotely not come true? No. Everything he's ever said, everything he said he was going to do, everything that's past is equal to what he says in my future. So if he said it back here, I know it's going to happen somewhere up here, because I don't see it true right now. I have to remind myself this, and I have to think through all of this emotional turmoil, tell it to stop, and remind myself of who he is and what he does. He does not act the way we act, because he does not live within time. He sees all of it all at once. He knows what's best right now that will bring about your best future, the best version of you. It's hard to accept sometimes, right? I always go back to like what it was like to feel like a child, right? And sometimes things are painful that aren't really that bad. I remember first time getting a shot, right? And you freaking out because you worked it all up in your head, and then it's like, I wasn't all that bad. And then there's people that continue in their head working things up every single time instead of remembering what it was last time. Oh, that wasn't even that bad last time I got a shot. So the point being is, right, when we allow our emotions to completely control us, we lose trust in God. When we allow ourselves to convince ourselves, and we're just rolling it over and marinating in our own stew of negativity, it's really hard to hear God. You got to step back and remind yourself, did you pray? Did he answer you? Did he tell you what's going on? Did he tell you it's going to be all okay? Right? So let's continue on. What about I've never heard? Right? What if he has yet to answer me? That's a question. And a lot of people go, but I'm not hearing nothing from him. 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 And they are working themselves up into this frenzy. So let's keep going, right? So just remember, do not be wise in your own eyes. Wait for him to direct your path. So Psalm 37. Do not fret because of evildoers, nor be envious of the workers of iniquity. For they shall soon be cut down like the grass, and wither as the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and feed on his faithfulness. Delight yourself also in the Lord, and he shall give you the desires of your heart. So, when we're so wrapped up in ourselves, we're no longer feeding ourselves with God. Because we're trying to figure this out, what? On our own. Or we're going to other flesh and blood to figure it out. What did Paul say when he was confronted with Jesus? He said, I did not go and confer with flesh and blood, but I went into the desert for 3 years. With who? The Spirit of God. So he allowed God to lead him into the wilderness for 3 years, teach him, and then he went and started speaking. Are we willing to go learn what it is to be us for 3 years? In the wilderness? That sounds hard. If you're with him, no, it's not. Could you imagine every day feeling like it's an eye-opening experience? Revelation after revelation? Understanding upon understanding? Until you get to the point of you come out the other side of that 3 years going, I don't even recognize who I was back then anymore. It feels like I've been in this place with God for such a long time. I don't even know how to be who I used to be. Nor do I ever want to be. Why? Trust. I did the thing he asked me to do, not knowing what was going to come out of it, other than his best intentions for me. So, if I feed myself on God while I'm all confused, to continue, commit your way to the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. He shall bring forth your righteousness as the light, and your justice as the noonday. Rest in the Lord, and wait patiently for him. Do not fret because of him who prospers in his way, because of the man who brings wicked schemes to pass. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Do not fret, it only causes harm. You taking action in your worries only brings you harm, or it will harm others. Fear creates problems. You are trying to solve problems that have already been solved by God. And when you stick your fingers in the pie, you screw it all up. It was perfect before you stuck your fingers in it. Why didn't you wait for it to cool? You burnt your fingers now. You had to get your hands in there, didn't you? Instead, God says, wait. There's a time to eat the pie. And right now is not the time. Do you trust what he just said? No, I promise you, you're going to get the pie. You will get the pie, but right now it's not the time. Oh, you did it anyway. How's that feel? You messed up your own blessing because you tried to stick your fingers in it too early. Wait. Be patient. Let it unfold. I am telling you right now, one of the coolest things I have ever watched is God completely direct my path from start to finish. He set the dominoes up. Everything on my journey, he set it up. What he was waiting on to knock those dominoes over was, what do you want me to do, God? And as soon as he knew my heart, my mind, my soul were ready to trust him completely in my actions, he's like, watch this. And the cascade of everything falling into place, I had no control over it. I had zero control over it. All I know is one thing after another was falling into place exactly as he had designed it. I asked him for the peace. I asked him for this place. I asked him for, the blessings. And then I started focusing on what he wanted from me. Instead of getting these things in order for myself, he started lighting them up. I wanted to move out to East Texas. 5 years, tried it on my own. Didn't work. Instead, the place that I work, he created the opportunity to be remote from home, so then we could come out here. And then, well, where are we going to live? What are we going to do? We got to find a place. I'd love to have a whole lot of property. I prayed for it, asked for it, where I could raise animals, farm, hunt, fish. That's a whole lot. And then he threw in a well on top of it. Oh, it's already drilled for you. So he gave me all the things, all the desires of my heart he gave me. When? When I was more concerned with what he wanted from me and what I was supposed to do with him versus what I wanted for myself. I just wanted peace is what I was asking for. So when I said, okay, I'll do, all right. Hey, you know that job that you're so tired of? Yeah, we're going to let you work from home now. We're going to let you move out to East Texas. Oh, I've been reserving this property for you. It's not even on the market. Here you go. And every single bit of what I prayed for, this place is. I didn't try. I didn't even get a realtor when we came here. Within a week of, like, okay, we're going to do this thing. Here it is. I cannot tell you how much those dominoes fell into place. And believe it or not, he set them up prior to me being ready. He was just waiting to knock them over. He put me in a job coming out of the Army that would set me up for success to get me in the job that I have now, which would then end up making me a federal employee, which would then end up making me a supervisor, which would then lead to the time that we're in now. Time to retrust. Time to sign up again. Time to check and see, am I still faithful? Am I still trusting? You know what I gotta remind myself? Are we gonna be good? We'll be good. It's all good. It'll be alright. Got this thing. We're gonna iron it out. It'll be okay. There's a few things extra I'd rather not say, but I see them coming. And I'm just going, is this true too? And it's looking like it is. All I'm saying is, the more I have placed my faith and my trust in him, there is an effect, a profound effect, that is happening at work with all of the people that are with me. I'm having to keep them calm. And I'm being able to be a witness for those that are freaking out. What are you doing? Why are you so calm about this? Well, number one, there's no sense in freaking out. It'll either be or it won't. But what I will tell you is prepare, be smart, just in case. But it'll be okay. And I know I'll be okay because he told me I'll be okay. So the ones that do not believe, I tell them, I pray. I go back to God with my problems. I ask him, what is the solution? Just hang on. It'll be okay. The answer hasn't changed. But all the chaos around me, is hard to stay focused on what he says. I cannot tell you how hard I'm being tested right now. But I have to remind myself, it'll be okay. He told me already, months ago, the problem is already solved. Do I trust that? And I have to continue to remind myself, yes, okay, but here's this other thing. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. All right. My bad. He understands. We don't see what he sees. But he knows I'm coming back to him every time. You got this one too, right? Yep. Already got a plan for it. Why am I speaking on this today? Because I need to preach to myself as well today, everybody. Like, can I tell you how hard some of this stuff is sometimes? When he told me, do not take that vaccine. Don't do it. All the stuff that's coming out, whatever you do, don't do this. But, okay. That's what he told me, right? I just need everybody to know, like, this is, whenever he speaks and he tells you something very clearly, oh my gosh, please pay attention. Please pay attention. Please pay attention. Do what he says. Whatever you do what he says. So, okay. Do not fret, it only causes harm. For evildoers shall be cut off, but those who wait on the Lord shall inherit the earth. For yet a little while, and the wicked shall be no more. Indeed, you will look carefully for his place, but it shall be no more. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. Okay. I think everybody kind of knows who Jordan Peterson is. He has taken this verse, and it makes so much more sense to me, the way he says it. What is meekness? A lot of people think of somebody that is just super sweet and nice and caring and loving. Sure. But the problem with that is, it's not really real to be meek in the definition of what it really is when you have zero power but decide to be righteous and just and good regardless of the power, and you decide to not go to war, you decide to not do the bad thing when you have the power to do the bad thing. Here is the easy way out, but I choose peace. I choose, right? So, I want to say it was probably in a Joe Rogan podcast where he said this and where a lot of people have heard this, but it was, the response was, so basically it's better to be a warrior in the middle of a farm instead of a farmer in the middle of a war. Why? You got no idea as only being a farmer, those skills don't translate to fighting. But being able to fight, but choosing not to and be at peace, those skills still translate. How to lead, how to farm. I've become, very efficient in striking. And some of that farm work, right, working a hoe might be the same as working a bow. There's things that translate, and so to really be meek is I have the power to destroy, but I choose not to. I choose to wield that in a peaceful manner, knowing that I have nothing to worry about, because if it gets crazy, I can defend. I can do what's needed. But I choose not to. That is a big difference in somebody that is forced not to. If I don't ever understand how to do this, then there is no real meekness to the person. It is only instead a weakness. You're forced into the situation because you can do nothing about it. You cannot do a thing. That is a much different place to be. So when it says the meek shall inherit the earth, that is somebody that wields enough power and responsibility and understanding, wisdom, knowledge to choose what's right. They're probably one of the toughest people in the world. Exhibit A, Jesus. Was he meek? He's the definition of. He is one of the most powerful beings, is the most powerful being in the world, but chose to set the power to the side to do what needed to be done to bring about what? Peace. Through his meekness, he accomplished something that would not be accomplished through just sheer power. This is the definition of meekness. I can, but I won't. He was tempted into using that power over and over by the devil. Bow to me. You'll inherit all of this. You mean what's already mine? He had to go through something. He had to go through something that was hard before he sat down next to the Father to basically be our brother, our friend, our salvation, our everything. He took selfishness and threw it away. I don't have to do this. I don't have to go through this. No. This is such a profound thing to understand. When he says the meek shall inherit the earth, it's not because you can't. It's because you see the greater good that will come on the other side of going through the hard thing than it is to take the easy way out. That is exactly what Jesus did. That's what we need to do. There are obstacles in our lives. You will see the opportunity to go around it, over it, under it, but it's cheating. You will not have earned what you get. Instead, God says we're going to have to go through this. We're going to have to go through this directly, head on, together. You choose another way, you're not learning how to be strong in the Lord. You're learning to cheat. Sometimes you have to just go through it. Okay? Got it? I will do it. I don't like it. Doing tough things, right? How do I become tough? I got to do tough things. So, just one more time though. Delight themselves in the abundance of peace. When? When you learn to be strong. What the real definition of strong is. When you learn to be strong and rely on the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, because you trust Him to strengthen you. The refinement process beats all the impurities out of you. It hurts, but you are that much better on the other side. You have become purer. Okay. So, Psalm 46, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. A very present help in trouble. People think, well, what's prayer going to do? I've heard that all the time. I'm like, you have no idea. I will watch things move out of my way because I pray for it. But, therefore we will not fear, even though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though its waters roar and be troubled. Though the mountains shake with its swelling, Selah. Could you imagine just all of a sudden, everything, the entire world crumbling around you, and you're watching it. You said we were going to be good, huh? This seems crazy. Have you ever gotten to the point of, do I just stand here? Do I run? Which way do I run? Okay, I've taken 3 steps. Am I still going in the right direction? If you have not gotten to that point in your life of praying like this with God, you tell me, man. You tell me. You start to realize, like, no, this is the way we're supposed to be, is underneath of His leadership constantly. He's saying, follow me. All day long He's saying, follow me. And we're like that 5-year-old getting distracted. We're looking around at all the things that are happening in the world, freaking out. But we don't realize the victory He's already put in place for you. Would you stop looking at all of that and just follow me, and it'll be fine. But here we are. Follow me. So, there is a river whose streams shall make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacle of the Most High. God is in the midst of her, she shall not be moved. God shall help her. Just at the break of dawn, the nations raged, the kingdoms were moved. He uttered His voice, the earth melted. It says in Revelation that the dragon is about to devour the child. We're going to be backed into a corner at some point. And we're all going to be going, oh no, oh no. Are you waiting until the last moment? Are you going to side with the enemy? That's what we're being prepared for. To fully trust Him when the day comes that, you know what? Cut my head off. Right. I think we're going to be in that moment where it's like, you know what? Whether I live or die, I will be with the Lord. Okay, let's go. Let's do this. Pull the trigger. That is confidence, right? Not in myself, but in Him. No person, I believe this, no person can get to that point unless they are tested throughout their life. You must be tested with hard times in order to get to the point of absolutely 100% trusting Him. How many times did you grab back a hold of the rope when He took it from your hands? Give it back, I got it now. Oh, well, screwed that up. Next time I won't. Next time I'll just trust Him. And then you do it again. I saw it, I know. And then you do it again and go, okay, I'm not going to grab it. You sit on your hands, right? Nope. Oh my gosh, that worked out. Oh my gosh, that worked out so much better than the other 2 times. Why? Because I didn't take it back away from Him and do something to screw the plan up. So, every time this has happened for me, it feels like the stakes are a little bit different. He's purging just a little bit of doubt that's left in this little corner of my mind. Let's get rid of this. We don't need this. Sometimes I feel like it's easier for me to do the harder thing than it is to do the easier thing. I don't quite understand that and why I'm wired this way. But the easy thing is like, hey, Why'd you put your hands on it? This one's easy to let go of. I don't know. This one's livelihood, this one's your life. I trust you more with my life than my livelihood. Are you kidding me? Come on, this one's difficult. You're gonna die. There's a possibility of death. I trust that more in his hands than where provision's coming from. Let's get rid of that. Okay, all right, I trust you. All of this being a refinement process. I told my wife since very early on in our marriage, right? God's got this. He'll provide us what we need when we need it, and it'll be his time. And I was driving that woman crazy because I was definitely acting like it. Like I had not a worry in the world. I'm pretty sure it drove her absolutely insane. I love her. She really had to trust that even in me that I was being this trusting with God. I could have been smarter, more frugal, let's say, but I honestly think God cut me some grace in the moment. Why? Because I trusted him so much. So, above all else, trusting him of what he says. So, I think we're still in Psalm 46, yes. At verse 7, the Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah. Come, behold the works of the Lord, who has made desolations in the earth. He makes war cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and cuts the spear in two. He burns the chariot in the fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah. What's God getting at? What is the writer getting at? I can't remember if this is David or not. I think it is. But everything that you know needs to happen, God does not need your help with it. He can take care of all of this himself. He gets the victory. He provides everything you need. Sometimes he forces you to take your hands off of it so you can recognize how much he is actually doing the winning for you. No, I don't even want you to take not one step. Be still. Know that I am God. I've got this. Shh. Sit down. Sit down. Take your hands off. I need it to go this way. Stop right where you're at and wait for me to tell you what to do next. I cannot tell you how hard that is for me. I'm one of the most impatient people in the world. I try my best to not be. I try my best to sit. Are you kidding me? Okay. I've got to have something going on to subdue all the thoughts that are going on in my head. This is why I go and I do things that look to be not proper for the time. For example, be still and know that I am God. This is why I go to things like, I'm going to play a video game now. He told me he's got it. I've got to keep my mind on something else so that I can trust that he is taking care of the thing. I'm going to go fishing. I'm going to go do the thing to quiet my mind so I can trust he's working this out. If I don't do this, I'm going to worry. If I don't keep my mind active on something other than the problem he said he's already solved for me. This is probably news to my wife, by the way. never explained this, I don't think, to anybody. I don't think I've explained it to myself anyway. All I know is this is 100% true. I've got to do something, and I've got to do something that is absolutely unrelated to the thing that is at hand, that is driving me crazy, and I think too much about it. Because if I continue to think about it, I'm going to put my hands on it, so I've got to turn away from it completely and allow Him to go to work and do the thing He already said He was doing. I trust you. How much do I trust you? I trust you enough to go enjoy my life aside from this word. It looks so irresponsible to everybody else. To everybody else, it looks like I'm being completely irresponsible. And it's like, nope, nope, nope. I'm trying to do what He told me to do. I'm trying. Oh man, is it rough? Is it tough? Especially for everybody else that's around me looking at me like, what are you doing? I'm trying to trust God. Is what I'm doing. So, for an overthinker, we want to talk about the ultimate test. Be still. Be patient. Wait. Can't tell you how many times on Tower Guard He showed me how to be patient and wait. Oh man. Very difficult task. It's so simple, yet it is one of the hardest things in the world. Jeremiah 17 says this. Thus says the Lord, cursed is the man who trusts in man and makes flesh his strength, whose heart departs from the Lord. For he shall be like a shrub in the desert, and shall not see when good comes, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt land which is not inhabited. Take it into your own hands if you want to. This is how it turns out. It's going to be terrible. It'll be like everything is crumbling and sand falling through your fingers, and you're just like, but it was okay, but now it's not okay yet because you inserted yourself into the situation instead of doing what He told you to do. Wait. Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord and whose hope is the Lord. For he shall be like a tree planted by the waters, which spreads out its roots by the river, and will not fear when heat comes. But its leaves will be green, and will not be anxious in the year of drought, nor will cease from yielding fruit. Do you see the contrast here? Both are hot. But what everybody else doesn't see is you might be a palm tree in the middle of a desert. You're actually being created to be an oasis. You've broken through the ground. He's planted you there for a reason, to be a resting place in the middle of the desert. Could you imagine being that? How much relief you could be for everybody else around you if you allow Him to plant you where you need to be. You will be miserable at first. Is it hot? Yeah, it's hot. But do you have everything you need? Of course you do. You got all that water. It's subterranean. Can't nobody see it. But you can feel it. Right? So I'm taking this to just like that one more step further, right? But God knows what He's doing. He's putting you where you need to be when you need to be there, because you're the person, as He's training you and as you rely more upon Him, so that you can be fruitful. And everybody goes, how? Well, you see, there was this time that God told me this was coming, and He told me it would be okay. And I prayed, and I'm not afraid because He has taken that fear from me, because He told me what was going to happen before it happened. So I know how this ends. It's like watching a movie. The good guy wins. I know the good guy wins. But in the middle of the movie, your anxiety goes way up because it looks like the good guy's not going to win. And you remind yourself, oh wait, the good guy wins. I've seen this movie. I know how this goes. It's extremely difficult to not get wrapped up in your emotions. You allow your emotions to win. The heart is so deceitful. It takes in all the emotions and processes them as it feels them. It overtakes your body, and you feel awful. Why do I feel this way? Is there actually anything currently happening that for real is happening to me to make me feel this way? No. You're just watching what's going on outside of you. Has anything actually happened to you? No. Nothing's actually happened. In all the chaos that's going on, has anything actually happened to me? No. Well, you said it would be like that, God. Okay. My cup runneth over. Everybody knows that saying, right? So did you know that symbolically they would place that cup in a bowl and they would pour into the cup so that it would overflow down into the bowl? Why? Because your blessings become somebody else's blessings. You're the one that is being fruitful, and you are so fruitful that it blesses those who surround you. So your blessings become their blessings. And when you learn to live by what God has told you and planted you next to those waters, it seems like trouble is all around you, but others that stick near you listen to you as you point them towards the Most High. You know, there's something about being around this guy that seems like it just always works out. Faithfulness requires trust. The ultimate decision, right? It always comes down to this. Like, you got this decision of go right or go left. Which way am I supposed to go? Don't decide for yourself. Don't. Which way are you telling me to go, God? Which way is the way you would have me go? And I will go that way. There's been a bunch of times for me where it's like, here's the hard way. And it comes back to this story, just like you're planted in a desert near a river, and it gets hot, except you continue to thrive. Oh, but this is tough. It's hot. It's that same story my father told me. Why did you throw me into the ocean? It was scary out there, and it was chaotic because your enemies can't swim. The devil's coming after you, and he can't swim. So I threw you in the ocean to save you. It seemed like it was really bad, but are you still here? Did you live to see another day, to fight another fight, to do more things with me? Yeah? Well, they didn't. They couldn't swim. They couldn't keep their head up. So they drowned, and now your enemies are taken care of, and now you can thrive. And you can be and do what needs to be done, because I was doing all of this to get rid of all your enemies. live with all your enemies, or do you want to take care of them for good? It might get hot. It might get chaotic. Well, let's do the thing, God. It seems rough, but we can do this. I can do this with you. You keep on coaching me up, Jesus, and I'll keep going, right? So, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? I, the Lord, search the heart. I test the mind, even to give every man according to his ways, according to the fruit of his doings. This whole passage is, I am going to test you. Do not trust yourself. Trust me. Put yourself to the side. Do not listen to what everything out there is telling you. You listen to me and nothing else. He tells us in his Bible, through his prophets, what it is to walk with God. There will be up and there will be down. When you're down, you're not out. You're about to go to the next level. You're about to go to the next thing, the next part of your life which is blessed. I've lived a very long while with the blessings. Okay, so let's get on with the testing. Oh, I'm in it. Oh, I'm in it. So, verse 11, as a partridge that broods does not hatch, so is he who gets riches, but not by right. It will leave him in the midst of his days, and at his end he will be a fool. So somebody that basically is relying on themselves is like a hen that hatches nothing, right? It's all rotten. Because you didn't earn it. You didn't do it the right way. You cheated it. You went around it. You went over, you went under. You didn't go through it with God. This is bound to fail. It seems like you avoided the pain. And you got by avoiding the pain. But the problem is the next test, you will absolutely fail because you have not learned to toughen yourself to the point of resisting the devil so that he may flee. Like, there's only one way to do these things sometimes. And that is to go through head first, bulldozing it with God. We get smacked in the face by some branches every now and then, but you go, you know what? That's all right. Still here. That'll heal. So the end, Proverbs 28. He who is of a proud heart stirs up strife, but he who trusts in the Lord will be prospered. Do you see all these promises? Trust in yourself, not so good. Trust in him, it's all good. He who trusts in his own heart is a fool, but whoever walks wisely will be delivered. Whoever walks wisely will be delivered. What are you being delivered from? Yourself and the problems that arise. You can't do this without him. That is the key. Like, the major, overall, fundamental understanding of our Bible. One key thing to take from it. I cannot live my life without God. You start to understand that, you start to understand why your life is being put into turmoil so often. You keep trying to do this on your own. We're not supposed to be alone. We were not created to be alone. We're created to be with each other and with him. He created a helpmate or a help, I don't know, is it a helpmeet?
Help me.
Helpmeet. wasn't supposed to be alone. He's supposed to have somebody there to help him and point him in the right direction. To see his blind spots. To help him understand what he could not see. And to always point each other back towards him. When you forget to look at him, you forget the most fundamental understanding of what our existence is. It's to exist with God, not without him. Exist with him. You start doing that, it'll bring you through some things. But when you look back at them, the only thing you'll ever be able to say is, I'm so glad I listened. You won't be able to claim it for yourself. You won't be able to say, I'm so smart. All you'll be able to do is look back and go, man, I'm so glad you told me that. I am so glad you told me what to do, when to do it, how to do it. All I can do is be thankful for the things that you're doing. It pushes you closer to God. You go through things with him, you get closer to him. That's the end result. So when Paul says, count it all joy, or excuse me, it might be James. James and Paul say it. James and Paul both say, find joy in tribulation. Right? Why? I'm getting closer to God, that's why. My relationship is getting stronger with God because of this trouble. I've learned to rely more on him through each and every problem that has come through my life. So, this morning, he gave me this to give to everybody. Why? Because he was jamming it down my throat. But, I need it. So, with that said, I'm going to close this in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for showing us how much we can trust you all the time, in all things, in every way. We ask that you help us to not listen to our hearts, but to focus more on what it is that you're saying. Help us to become more selfless and more attentive to what it is that you're saying and doing in our lives each and every day. Help us to be fruitful in the troublesome times so that we can show what it is to live with you. In Jesus' name, amen.